Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be giving you my favourite book recommendations because I've definitely been on a bit more of a reading grind recently. I've definitely gotten back into it and I thought I'd share with you my favourite books. Most of my favourite books. Okay, so let's get started. So most of these are series because I just tend to read more series, to be honest, and I find it nicer to read series because I definitely go on a emotional journey with all the characters and the developments that happen throughout. And I think I do prefer series over a standalone book because of that emotional development and being able to follow their characters the whole way through, and just especially when it's a really good series, because then the story just carries on and like it's not going to end for a lot longer than a standalone book. So anyway, let's get started. First one is the Fourth Wing series. So that's Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, and then there are supposedly 2 more books coming out soon, I think. And it's mainly fantasy. I'd say that's the primary theme. But then there is also a bit of a romance in it. But I do like that it's not too heavily focused on the romance. It does add to the plot, and yeah, I do love a book like that has multiple themes that kind of underlie it and it's not just purely one theme. And yeah, so the last 100 pages of each book will probably wreck you emotionally, and not to spoil anything, but in each book I think, yeah, the last pretty much 100 pages is like everything solved all at once, and I think in most of them I've cried, or at least have been on the verge of crying, because like I said, I get so attached to all the characters in a series, especially one as good as Fourth Wing, and it's like it's always just something drastic happens in the last 100 pages that just makes you think, oh my gosh. And they always end on cliffhangers as well, which obviously does make you want to read the next book, but it's kind of frustrating now that we've got to wait so long for the next books because I need to know what happens. Next one is Bride. That also has a sequel of Mate. I think those are the only 2 books that are going to be in that series. Again, it's like a fantasy / romance, and it does have, I suppose, I think Bride definitely does have a bit of an underlying mystery theme as well, which I do quite like. Mate was very good, but it didn't really have much of a mystery theme, I'd say. I think you could probably argue that there was still a slight hint of that, but it wasn't as strong as a theme as it was in Bride, sorry. And it's got, I think the plot's really good and really well written and thought out, and it does have a lot going on, but it's really easy to follow, I think. And it's not too much that like it feels too overwhelming. It's like the perfect amount, because there are a few different plot lines that I think is quite easy to follow in the book, and it does really fill it out and it makes it so much more interesting than if it just had one main story. And yeah, I was very invested in the characters and the relationships between the characters, because I think that that's written really well, like the strength of the relationships between them and how important they are to the book and the plots makes it a lot better as well. It makes it a lot more of a structured book, and definitely more engaging to read, like for the emotions. Then it's Love Theoretically, which is by Ali Hazelwood. Just realised I haven't mentioned the authors at all, actually. Yeah, it's by Love Theoretically is by Ali Hazelwood. There are a few other books that are quite similar to it, but Love Theoretically is my favourite personally, because I found that I related to the female main character quite a lot, which just made me more emotionally invested in it. And I do think it's really well written as well. It's obviously a romance book, and I was gonna say it's really light-hearted, but for me it's not. I find it quite deep because it makes me really reflect on myself as well. But I really love it, and I would definitely recommend it, because I would say not light-hearted, but I would say it's an easy read, and I do kind of love books like that, because this list is a half fiction, half non-fiction book, and because the non-fiction books I read are quite heavy and I'm usually like quite busy all the time, I always need a fiction book to just help me decompress, and like I need it to be really light-hearted and easy to read, basically. That being said, again, another series is the Deal series. I can't remember what the actual name, what's the name of the university they go to? It's the Off-Campus series, which starts with The Deal, and there are 5 books in the series. Again, it's just so light-hearted, and I really enjoy the relationships between the characters. There's quite a bit of a theme here, if you can't tell. And especially the friendships in that book, because while again it is a romance series, I find almost, in a sense, the friendships more enjoyable to read about, because it's obviously it's about like the same friend group in the whole series, so you do see the relationships develop in that way. And I like that they have a close enough relationship, like friends wise, that they're able to call each other out on things that they do wrong, which I really appreciate, actually. And yeah, it's very, obviously it does cover like serious topics in it, but it does it in a nice way. I think it's really well written. And then again, another series is the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I have heard like slightly contrasting things about it. Obviously again, it's a romance / romancy. I personally really love them. Again, it's like you get so invested in the characters, and there are some characters that you really hate at the start, but then you get to know them and you get to know the story behind why they're that way, and it makes you really connect with them and understand why they're like that, and makes you like them even more. And yeah, it's funny actually how I think I like this series, because you can appear to either like or dislike a character, and then you kind of get to know more about them, and then it completely flips your opinion of them, which I quite like it when a book does that, because it means that it kind of keeps me on my toes and it keeps it interesting. And those books are quite long, but I didn't find them that hard to read. Sometimes when a book's really long, I can get a bit bored, and I do tend to read books that are not really short, because again, I don't like a really short book, but around about like 300 pages. But one of the Court of Thorns and Roses books, I think, is about 600. I may be wrong on that, it might be like 500, but it's longer than a book I would usually read. And I think there are 5 books in total in that series as well. But I just love them. And I think the description of it is really good, like the language in it, I really enjoy. Because I do try to appreciate the language in a book as well, not just like the plot and the themes of it. That is one thing sometimes I would say with more recent romance books, is that sometimes I get frustrated at the lack of vocabulary and the lack of like range of vocabulary in it. But A Court of Thorns and Roses, I think, is quite good for that. Moving on to the non-fiction books, I have literally a very short introduction to blank book. I personally love them. I think I have 6 of them currently, although to be fair, 3 of them I'm currently borrowing, but I would get a lot more if I could. And I find it's so, like, it opens you up to a topic so easily, but into so much, well, it's not so much detail, but it feels like it's so much detail. It feels really intellectual to make you, it does give you a really good understanding of the basics of a topic, and it can make you feel like you know enough about it to kind of talk about it, or it just makes you feel like you know a lot about a topic, basically, even though you've only just covered the depths. No, even though you just covered the tips of the surface, like the tip of the iceberg. But it does it in a really good way, and I think it's good because it is very sophisticated in the writing, but it still feels quite easily digestible, which I personally love. And then also I have The Miracle Morning. I did start implementing it to my life. I've had a bit of a break at the moment because I felt like I needed a bit more time I needed to spend a bit more time with family and just go to bed a bit later and wake up later, rather than waking up early to spend some more time by myself. But I am going to get back into it very soon. And I did definitely find that I was a lot more calm, and I felt like I had a lot more purpose. Well, I realised my purpose a lot more, my goals that I wanted in my life. And I have actually noticed that the calmness levels have decreased since I've stopped it, so that's why I'm going to start implementing it again, or at least start implementing the meditation every morning. And yeah, I just felt like it gave me a bit more of a, not necessarily a purpose to life, but I felt like it gave me a bit more control over my life in a, it's hard to explain, I just feel like you have to experience it for yourself, but I would recommend that book to anyone. And then also again, kind of linking that is Atomic Habits. It's kind of the same sort of vibe, but mainly habits based. And I think that reading them, I don't really know if there's a better order, but I think reading one and then the other, like right next to each other, is very useful because a lot of the ideas link, and you can apply the ideas from one book to the ideas to another to start like a habit or something like that. So yeah, I really love both of those, and definitely been able to help me make a more positive impact to my life. So thank you for watching. That's the end of the video. I hope I've encouraged you to try and read at least one of those books because I personally love them. And I'm sorry if I haven't encouraged you to read them because you're definitely missing out. So thank you, see you in the next video. Bye!